Hi, it's Ray Grant. It is Thursday, September 5th, 2024. It is what does that say? It's 2:31 p.m. here in Pittsburgh. Um, I haven't posted since last, I think December 14th, and then I was on Ross Geraci's channel for a debate on December 23rd. I had actually finished my walkthrough of the Zodiac case by that time. That was part of the reason I haven't posted since then. I may discuss this topic in greater detail in some future video. Today I wanted to talk specifically about the um, the uh, the person who sent the 2016 letter to Riverside PD. I see where Ross Geraci and Ned DeHaan both believe that this person was actually the author of the April 30th, 1967 looseleaf letters in Riverside. Um, I'm going to I could use my red marker today. Maybe I'll do that. What we have here is the the three loose leaf letters were all postmarked April 30th, 1967. I don't know how. Maybe I'll use the black one after all. Let's go back to the black one. Okay. They were all postmarked April 30th, 1967. Is that better? Okay. But we didn't know that the serial killer in the San Francisco in the San Francisco Bay Area was calling himself Zodiac until August of 1969. So you can see that's a gap. This would have been early August. So that's a gap of, you have like May, June, and July. You have 3 months plus 2 years. So 2 years and 3 months between the mailing of those letters and the August 1969 letters, okay? So the question is, how credible is it that a teenager in Riverside in April of 1967 wrote those three loose leaf letters? And two of the three letters contained, or what appeared to be the letter Z down at the bottom of the letter, okay? And I will show you those in a second. But the first question we have to ask ourselves is, if this guy was some sort of a copycat, would he have sent the letters that he sent? Because prior to this time, the only letters that had been received by Riverside PD and by the newspaper were two copies of a typed letter, a letter that was typed single space on teletype paper, and it was sent in envelopes that were not posted. There was no stamp on either envelope, okay? So how is it then that the teenager in April 1967 sends a hoax letter purporting to be the same person, presumably, and instead of copying what had previously been sent, he sends three loose leaf letters, which just contain, instead of containing some long, rambling diatribe like the confession letter is, it just contains like a couple of sentences. Bates had to die, there will be more. In the one case she had to die, there will be more. Okay? So the first question you have to ask yourself is, what kind of copycat does that? I mean, so the second problem with let's take a look at the actual letters. What we see is, I'm not sure if this is the Riverside police or the Riverside press that this was sent to. As you can see, there's a Z, what appears to be a Z down at the bottom. Now, the only way that this symbol differs from a regular Z is that the top of it, I don't know if you can see that, is shaped more like a 3, okay, than just a straight line. Other than that, though, it looks like a Z, okay? Here's the other one that was sent. I assume the first one was sent to the police, and this one was sent to the Riverside Press. It may be the opposite. Offhand, I could check. I don't think it's one or the other. They're virtually identical, and you can see the same thing here. That the Z, the top of it is shaped like a 3, but other than that, it looks like a Z. In point of fact, prior to the news of the hoaxer coming forward, which he didn't do. Prior to that, if you went on any Zodiac message board or any Zodiac website, what you would find is this referred to as a Z, okay? And the only reason people stopped referring to it as a Z is because this possibility that a hoaxer was involved. Well, there are a couple other problems with that. First of all, as Tom Voigt has pointed out, if you put the two of the Riverside messages together, if you put the Bates had to die letters and the desktop poem together, you will note that Bates had to die was signed with a Z, and the desktop poem was signed with the letters RH. And as Tom Voigt pointed out, I believe in 2008, what these actually do is they essentially point to the use of alphabet numbers by the Zodiac Killer, or by whoever the author was, because you have Z at the bottom of one, you have RH at the bottom of the other, and Z equals RH. In other words, Z is the 26th letter of the alphabet, R is the 18th letter, H is the 8th letter. So 26 equals 18 plus 8. Okay? So that's another reason to believe that that's a Z. Okay? And frankly, I don't see any particular reason not to believe that it's a Z when the Riverside homicide has been connected to the Zodiac murders by people. You know, I went on Ross Geraci's channel, and Ross did the first words out of his mouth after he asked me to give an outline of my theory. And basically the first thing out of Ross's mouth was, why in God's name do you think that Riverside was somehow involved in the Zodiac case? Well, wait a minute. If you go to zodiackiller.com, there's a Riverside section. There was a Riverside section on Mike Morford's websites. I believe there was a Riverside section on Mike Butterfield's websites. If you go to the Zodiac Killers subreddit, there are all sorts of articles about Riverside. Same thing with Richard Grinnell's website. There are a multitude of articles, some of which mention me, about Riverside. Okay, the Robert Graysmith book has a whole section about Riverside. The David Fincher movie has Dave Tosky traveling to Riverside and talking to the Riverside police about the Sherry Bates case. Not only that, but you have the October 20th, 1969 memo, which went from Riverside PD to Napa Sheriff's Office, which was about the similarities between the homicide in Riverside and the Zodiac case in the Bay Area. And as I pointed out, the only reason that Riverside backpedaled on that is that when they compared the two sets of fingerprints, they were mutually exclusive. Okay, but to say that where did you get this crazy idea that Riverside is involved with the Zodiac? Well, it's what everybody else says too. Now, people aren't necessarily saying that the killer of Sherry Bates necessarily was the Zodiac. However, that possibility is all over the place. So, why I was suddenly being attacked by Ross Geraci about this, I have yet to figure out. I mean, why doesn't he have all Mike Butterfield and all these other people on his channel? Why doesn't he attack them for that too? Why doesn't he have Tom Voigt on there and attack Tom for mentioning the Riverside murder on his website? It's a ridiculous argument, to say the least. Okay, even if it turns out that the Riverside murder was not associated somehow, I don't believe that's going to happen. But even if it did, and people said, "Hey, wait a minute, a different person killed Sherry Bates from who committed the Zodiac murders," they've still been talked about together for now literally for decades. You can go back to the original archived message board on Tom's website. And it's the same thing. There's Riverside material there. There was Riverside material. Paul Avery linked Riverside with the Zodiac murders, okay? This is not a news flash, okay? So we have like I said, we have the Z's on the bottom. By the way, if you go to Times 17, Gareth Penn has the 1974 postmarks were in create a Z on the map. The see if I can read this. 1974 letters are postmarked in this order: Sunnyvale in the South Bay, San Francisco, Sunnyvale, San Francisco, Fremont, near the foot of the East Bay, and San Rafael in the North Bay. So basically, it's a backwards way of drawing a Z, granted, but it's here, 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 and then here, and that creates a Z on the map. And remember, it's in sequence. There was a guy on Butterfield's board who said, well, any 4 points will create a Z on the map. Yeah, but we're not talking about any 4 points. We're talking about a sequence of points. Here, then here, then here, then here, creating a Z on the map. Okay? So again, this isn't some weird runic symbol here. It's a Z. That's what it is. And again, no one even questioned that until this hoaxer came forward and said, hey, and by the way, the guy who sent the 2016 letter didn't come forward. He sent an anonymous letter in 2016. And in 2016, authorities hadn't figured out yet that they could do a genealogical trace of somebody, which way they did with not BTK, with GSK in 2018. And then they started doing it with other cold cases. And they did it with the hoaxer guy with the 2016 letter. So he sends an anonymous letter, and then they trace his DNA, and they find him. And then he says, oh, you know, I was emotionally troubled when I was a teenager, and I sent these letters, okay? Only problem with that is he didn't send the letters, okay? It's my cat. He did not send the 1967 letters, okay? Here's the other reason to believe that. If you were assuming that the teenager wrote the 1967 letters, then somehow the teenager knew, probably through extrasensory perception, that there would be this guy called the Zodiac Killer who would appear in August of 1969, and he would eventually claim the Riverside activity, and there would, and so this teenager, just by accident, by an amazing coincidence, had a Z at the bottom of two of those letters. Amazing, isn't it? Okay, but let's not stop there. There's something else about those letters. If you look at the three letters that the teenager supposedly sent, this is the cover of the letter. You will see it is double posted. This is the police letter. This is the letter to the Enterprise. Double postage. This is the letter to Joseph Bates. Double postage. Okay? Now, not only did the teenager foresee that in 2 years and 3 months this guy named the Zodiac would appear, so he puts a Z down at the. Not only did he have ESP, he also knew that the Zodiac would be double posting his letters. Okay, that's an amazing coincidence. I mean, that's one. I don't think Ripley's Believe It or Not would accept that. They'd say that's too fantastic. Let's take a look at the letters in the Bay Area, shall we? Now, granted, this is the Vallejo Times letter, and it's actually got 4 stamps on it. So make of that what you will. This is the Chronicle letter with the Z408 on it. 2 stamps. This is the San Francisco Examiner letter. 2 stamps. Double posted. This is the first Paul Stein letter, October 13th, 2 stamps. This is the Dripping Pen letter, November 8th, 2 stamps. Double posted. This is the November 9th letter that I was going to say it made Dave Aranchek famous. Actually, this one made Dave famous because Z340 was inside the November 8th letter. But this is the November 9th letter, 2 stamps. Is this getting too monotonous? I'll break the monotony here. The Melvin Belli letter actually has 6 stamps on it. Needless to say, it is overposted, however. This is the April 20th, 1970 letter. 2 stamps, double posted. This is the April 28th dragon card. 2 stamps. And just for good measure, no, he went to single stamps after that. However, just for good measure, he put 2 stamps on the LA Times letter. Now, one of the things I mentioned during my debate with Ross and Richard Grinnell is more like a wrestling handicap match where it's one guy against 2, and every time I got to the point where I was going to pin one of them, the other guy would jump in and push me off, So it wasn't really a debate. But one of the things I mentioned during that time was that this is an absolutely amazing teenager who saw all of this together. On April 30th, 1967, not only does he know that a serial killer with whose name starts with Z, the Zodiac. Oh, by the way, what I should point out is we had, let me see. Since I was talking about alphabet numbers before, might as well bring this up. As you know, I mentioned this in my book in 1990. Pi converts to an anagram for a zodiac. Here it is. Long before there were anything online about the Zodiac killer, there were no websites, there was no internet. This was in my book. The whole number in first 7 decimal digits of pi, 3.1415926, converts in alphabet numbers. Oops. You see if I can, here we go, okay. CADOIZ, it's an anagram of zodiac. He got the name from pi. When he says this is the zodiac speaking, what he is actually saying is this is geometry speaking, which would then allow him to create a point, an angle, and a triangle on the map of the United States, which is what they did, what the Zodiac killers did. So, at any rate, we are assuming that this teenager saw all this ahead of time in 1967, and as I pointed out during my debate, that I worked for the U.S. Postal Service for 37 years, okay? And what you see, all of this stuff that you see here, this, and stuff like this, and stuff like this, okay, I can tell you from personal experience, this is unheard of. For every letter that you handle that is overposted, you're going to handle probably thousands of letters that are either underposted or don't have any postage at all on them, okay? It's not completely unheard of, but overposting letters is a rare thing. It doesn't happen. People usually, particularly if they're sending mail to, a particular place over and over again, they find out what the correct postage is to that place. so that they don't spend money unnecessarily. Okay, so it is very unusual to see overposting and double posting, but that's what the Zodiac Killer did. And remember, the confession letter didn't have any postage on it at all. So how in God's name did this teenager know to double post the three loose leaf letters and put a Z on in two of them? Okay, and he sends his copycat letter, which in no way resembles the first letter that was sent. Okay, that sounds like it was done by the original writer and not by some teenager who is mentally deranged, or just wanted to make a name for himself. It's ridiculous. Um, if Riverside PD has this guy, and I'm assuming they know who the guy is because they traced his DNA. Um, what they should do is put him in jail. I know Wearside Jack in the UK sent hoax letters during the Yorkshire Ripper case, and he was eventually found the same way by DNA tracing. And I think his name was John Humble, and they took him and threw him in jail, which is where he belonged, frankly. And he spent, I think, a couple of years. It's a waste of human life, basically. And they ought to do the same thing with this kid, frankly, because when he sent the 2016 letter, he wasn't a teenager; he was a grown man, and he should have known better. But I guess he figured, hey, I'll have some fun. No one's ever going to solve this case anyway. You know, the people who are watching this video are 100% Zodiac Killer enthusiast, whatever you want to call them, hobbyists, enthusiasts. And the people who are watching this video should be just as pissed off at this guy as I am. Okay. In any case, it is blatantly obvious that this guy did not write the 1967 letters. Okay. And who is telling you that? Well, Ray Grant is telling you that, and Tom Voigt is telling you that. Okay, so who's telling you that this guy actually sent the letters? Well, Ross and Ned. Okay, well, okay, those two are serious researchers, but I'll take Ray and Tom over those two, frankly. At least on this point. So. I just wanted to get that off my chest. So I will be, I may be posting further videos. I'm trying to keep my videos so that they're not 3 hours long anymore. So maybe I'll just, when I post a video, it'll just be like on one point and, ramble on that for a while and then move on to other things. Anyway, Ned says he wants to do a Ted Bundy video, so I may end up doing that, sometime in the very near future. Anyway, that's all I have for now, and frankly, I don't know what I'm going to do next. So, but I'll let you know. Sorry for the gap, but the gap was created by the fact that I had finished the walkthrough of the Zodiac Killer. And I wanted to switch to doing a more general channel like Veritasium, where I'm talking about multiple cases and multiple topics and so forth. And I was in the process of trying to figure out exactly how I was going to do that, and it just has taken longer than I expected. I will be doing a walkthrough of the JFK assassination, which I have now done all the research for. So it's just a matter of actually doing the videos for. So, so that's that's what I have as far as the 2016 hoaxer. This thing needs to be put to bed. Okay, stop saying, "Oh, this guy sent the 1967 letters." Okay, so stop. they're talking about Sherwood Moral. Sherwood Moral. The difference between Sherwood Moral and somebody who's talking online is Sherwood Moral had the actual letters. He had the physical letters with him. Sherwood Moral was a trained document examiner, okay? Sherwood Moral had magnification available to him, okay? He wasn't looking at something on a computer screen, okay? So anyone who talks about Sherwood Moral dismissively is talking out of his ass, basically, okay? Sherwood Moral was handling the actual evidence. When you're dealing with, a historian is dealing with, some sort of evidence. He gets the original sources, okay? He doesn't get secondary sources. He doesn't just look at things through a computer screen, okay? He handles the actual material, okay? That is the reason. Now, granted, I disagree with Morrill about the 19. Sherwood Morrill said the 78 letter was a zodiac letter. I'm sure it is not a zodiac letter, but I'm not 100%. As I've said many times, I'm not 100% right. Neither is he, and neither is anyone else. So, but I think he is right about the Riverside letters. And if you're going to say that he isn't right, then you're going to have to come up with a conflicting expert opinion, which of someone who actually did handle the original material. No, I think John Shimoda had a different opinion, so who knows? But in any case, my point in this video is that the 2016 hoaxer did not write the 1967 letters, period. If you want to keep saying that he did, fine, okay. But you're wrong. Okay, I will see you next time, or maybe very soon. I will talk to you then.